Live.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our 10 a.m. session, Bringing Ideas to Life, How Dayton Entrepreneurs Made It Happen. No entrepreneurial journey is the same. In this round of lightning talks, several Dayton founders will share their stories of hustle and grit and share the often unglamorous details of how they actually got started. These talks will highlight different paths to success in our community. Our moderator for the session is Candace Dalmani Rouge, the founder of Red Spark, a market strategy company. Candace will introduce each of the lightning talks and then facilitate the Q&A. For the Q&A, please submit your questions within the app. There's a section called Session Q&A, and just find this session, and you'll be able to submit questions directly to us. Candace, I'll let you take it from here.
All right, thanks so much, John. Good morning, everybody tuning in to the live virtual Startup Week Dayton 2020. Before we get started, I just want to give a big thanks to everybody that's behind putting this event on. We know how hard it can be putting on an event in person normally, let alone during a pandemic. So if we can all give a virtual round of applause for everybody behind this, it's off to a great start. As John mentioned, I'm Candace Dalmani Rouge, the owner and founder of Red Spark, and I'm delighted and honored to be with all of you today to help share the unique stories of 6 Dayton entrepreneurs and how they brought their ideas to life. I'll be introducing all of our entrepreneurs, and then we'll turn it on to a video that each of them have prepared so you can hear more about their story. So without further ado, let's get started. First up, we have Camo Akutera, who's someone I've had the pleasure of working with closely. Camo is the co-founder of Trep House, which is a virtual innovation hub for underrepresented founders to help them start and scale their ventures. He is also the co-director of the first ever Founder Institute in Dayton, which has just launched this summer. Pretty exciting stuff. And as you'll see from his video, he has been a real serial social entrepreneur in and around the Dayton area in all sorts of different disciplines for many years. After Camo, you'll hear from Sherelle Gardner. She's program manager at Co-op Dayton and is the co-founder of the West Side Makerspace project. And while it's great to be a Dayton native, many of us are, the city also needs people like Sherelle who move to Dayton and bring their passion and creativity to the Gem City. In just a minute, you'll hear how she's doing that at Co-op Dayton, both as an employee and as one of the participants in their 8-month incubator program to launch the West Side Makerspace project. Then, after Sherelle, we'll pass it over to Mick. Mick Hopkins is the CEO and founder of True Concept Medical Technologies. Having experience in medtech myself, I'm familiar with how difficult launching medical products can be. And as you'll see from Mick's talk, he is a true example of why entrepreneurs and businesses should focus on customer needs rather than solutions to a problem. He applied his 25 years of experience as a clinical nurse in the creation of a dual syringe technology that helps with sepsis and sudden cardiac arrest. You'll also hear from Mick how he's adapting through COVID. Then we'll pass it on to Tay Winslow. Tay is the owner and founder of the Entrepreneurs Marketplace and the Entrepreneur Shop, both of which are retail locations in Dayton aimed at helping small business brands grow. After the success of her first store, she opened a second location to continue showcasing and supporting Dayton brands and also host events. So if you're looking to shop local, check out her stores for food, health and wellness items, clothing, fashion accessories, and art created by local entrepreneurs. Then you'll hear from Jessie Anderson. She's the owner, creator, and sewing instructor at Needle, Ink, and Thread, which is a modern sewing studio in Beaver Creek. Jessie will share her experience launching and running multiple businesses, including how she crowdfunded through Kickstarter and how to leverage that money to grow. She'll also share how she's taken advantage of local opportunities to propel her ventures and why remaining debt-free has been critical to her success. Last but not least, you'll then hear from John Powell. John is the founder of Christopher and May Design, which creates branding and marketing solutions for family-owned and small businesses. With a passion for marketing and psychology and using his decade-long experience working in marketing agencies, John made the leap in late 2018 to start his own agency. You'll hear from John why sticking to your values, being open and transparent, listening and adapting have been key to his success, particularly through a pandemic. So without further ado, please stay tuned for the videos for all of these 6 incredible Dayton entrepreneurs.
Hello, my name is Camo. I am a serial social entrepreneur born and raised in Dayton, Ohio. I have started several ventures over the years. I've been a real estate investor, I've been a business credit consultant. I've done IT consulting work. I've done e-commerce. I've done a little web development. Have explored a series of different industries, and I have built a certain grit up from my upbringing in Dayton, Ohio. Growing up here, you have to be kind of gritty to endure what Dayton was like before the current redevelopment boom that we're experiencing now. And out of that upbringing, I was able to transmute that into a career in entrepreneurship. And that has been a journey that was started off probably back in about 2003. So here we are in 2020, and I'm still at it doing that work. The latest venture and kind of my coup de grace is Trep House, a virtual development platform for underrepresented founders, particularly young Black and Brown founders and creators. The goal is to create access to opportunities and resources in a culture where that is wholly absent for most founders of color. There is a huge disparity in an amount of funding that these founders receive, as well as just overall support. And my goal is to get us to a point where we can equitably participate, not just for our own good, but for the good of the overall society. Because studies show that diversity and inclusion, provide above average returns. Different approaches to innovation because of the different, cultural references, and so on and so forth. So in order for us to experience a more inclusive society, we have to start to get the stakeholders at the table who are creating the things that we use every day, the things that we intend, that we eat, etc. It has to be as diverse as the country is itself from those producers. The best thing is to take stock of what skills you already possess. Oftentimes I see people chasing what they think will make money instead of finding out what is, a passion of theirs. And, it's cliche to say that. And a lot of people hear that and they think, oh yeah, that's all good, but I want to do Forex, or I want to, sell Uggs, or, insert anything that looks like it's a great venture just purely on like the financials. Find something that you like to do, that you enjoy, that you have a knack for, and then figure out if it's something that you can in fact get paid for. So kind of taking stock of all of your abilities, all your hobbies, and kind of figure, if I took this a little more seriously, if I monetized it, could it be something that would be a viable venture? So that way, when the hard times come, and the hard times will come, you have that endurance to see it through. Because it is something that you actually have an affinity for or have a preference for. If it's something that's not actually in line with who you are, then when the times get tough, then you'll drop it. You won't really know how to adjust or pivot. You won't have a network to reach out to, so on and so forth. So that's the biggest piece of advice, and one of the biggest challenges I see a lot of new founders have. Is just making sure that it's in line with their own assets.
My name is Sherelle Gardner, and I am the program manager at Co-op Dayton and also the co-founder of the Westside Makerspace project. And my story begins really learning about Gem City Market as not just a grocery store in West Dayton, but also a living classroom of what it means to work and be in cooperative with our community. And at the time when the project first launched, I was living out of town and heard about it and wanted to be involved. So every weekend I was driving down to Dayton, meeting with Co-op Dayton staff and community members, and just trying to be involved in that project, as well as other co-op projects they had coming out. And I worked my way up from a volunteer to a co-facilitator for different projects that Co-op Dayton was working on. And about a year and a half later, that turned into a job. And at the time, a group of friends and I have been thinking about creating a makerspace, just a place where we can come and share tools and knowledge with each other, and like-minded people who wanted to reimagine what Dayton can be and really bring it to a time again of innovation and creativity and collaboration for our community. And with Gym City Market being in West Dayton, it was really important to us to build off of that synergy and start giving people the tools and making it accessible for people to create and reimagine whatever they needed, whatever came to mind. And so last fall, we started researching what does it take to create a co-op, and also learning the pitfalls and stories of what it takes to have a successful makerspace, because they're really just challenging businesses. There's not a very good business model to have a successful, especially private, for-profit makerspace. And so we were meeting with makers all throughout Dayton, going to events and holiday markets, and just trying to interact with as many people as possible, whether it be people who are interested in the tech industry or artisans or crafters, whoever it was that could help us shape this space and determine what it is that Dayton needs for us to create and innovate together. And then we learned about Co-op Dayton's Co-op and Social Enterprise Incubator, because this was before the time I was working with them, and we jumped right on it. We knew that we wanted it to be a co-op. We saw the momentum behind Gym City Market, and we wanted to create that same energy in another area for Dayton. And so we joined, and we're just wrapping up our, I think, 8-month program, and it's going to end in pitch night. And it was a long journey to get us here. A lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings, a lot of just pouring in whatever extra cash we had to buy tools and to renovate a garage and turn it into a workshop. But we're really excited to be able to show everyone what it is that we've been dreaming of, and bring more people on board. So pitch night is October 16th at 6:30, and then you'll get to learn more about what a makerspace is, what it can be, and see a lot of the other teams that have been working equally as hard to create co-ops and social enterprises for Dayton.
Hi, I'm Mick Hopkins, CEO and founder of True Concepts Medical Technologies. We're a medical device innovation engine. Background on myself is that I've been a clinical nurse for 25 years, and I also have a background in industrial design. Working at the bedside, I've seen numerous errors in medicine, and I had an aha moment about 6 years ago when I witnessed a patient receiving a medication and the administration wasn't done properly, so the patient didn't actually receive the medication. I was in a trauma services meeting, and it just popped in my head, essentially. I thought there has to be a better way, there has to be an easier way. And it led me to develop my first dual syringe technology. And from there, the concept has morphed into a family of dual syringe technologies that all meet a different need within the healthcare system. I ran it through the hospital system that I was working for at the time, and when they weren't able to take it on, I decided to run with it myself. I partnered with a physician friend of mine, Dr. Arash Baboff, and together we went out and we were able to raise our initial round of funding through friends, family, and physicians. As we like to say, 70% of our investment that we received initially were from physicians who saw the need for these technologies. From there, we took that money and we focused on slowly building out the business and mainly focusing on our intellectual property. We filed in the US and we also filed internationally. Within the first year of filing, we found out that we had received 2 U.S. patents on 2 different syringe technologies. That has now grown into 4 U.S. patents, with our 5th U.S. patent expected by the end of this month for our 3rd syringe concept. Then we also filed internationally, as I said, and we just recently found out that we received 2 patents, one for each of the current syringe technologies in Japan. We've filed in Canada, Mexico, the European Union, India, Israel, Japan, and Hong Kong. Seeing that the areas that we focus on are sepsis and sudden cardiac arrest, and then recognizing that those are a global healthcare problem. Everything was trucked along nice and fine, and then COVID hit, like everybody's been impacted by. So we've had to pivot a little bit, mainly focusing on our intellectual property at this point, and see ourselves being an intellectual property holding company, where we'll be able to license these technologies to pharmaceutical companies as well as medical device manufacturers. I've gotten to the point with the business that I realize that these technologies are bigger than myself. And that's one of the things that keeps me pushing through, is that I know that ultimately we need to get these to the bedside for a safer delivery of medications, a better collection of blood cultures to give us a clearer picture of sepsis. And then also, I'm a father. I have 5 children, and I want to set an example for them that, you know, to never give up on your dreams, that there will be difficulties, but you just need to focus on one thing at a time, solve the problem, find the solution, and move forward. So this upcoming year, this past year's been trying, but this upcoming year is going to be pretty exciting for us. We're looking at a patent portfolio of approximately 40 to 50 patents by this time next year, US and international. And then we will also be securing funding to apply for FDA emergency use authorization. So it won't be hopefully too long, and these devices and technologies will be at the bedside.
Hello, I am Tay Winslow, owner and founder of the Entrepreneurs Marketplace and the Entrepreneur Shop. I started these businesses due to wanting to get more exposure for small businesses. I've been hosting small business events since 2016 and seeing the need of helping small business brands grow. The goal is to, see growth and help where I feel like there's needed for a business to become successful. I have 2 different stores. One is a pop-up shop store, the other is a small business retail store. And the whole goal is just to assist, take another small business hand and show them that they can also be successful. My advice for any small business is to network and just work hard. Sometimes it may start off slow. It may not pick up as soon as you launch your business, but if you put in that dedication and you work hard and stay consistent, you'll be great. And that's one of the things that I try to teach here at the stores, to, work hard. If you want it hard enough, you just got to work hard at it. So.
Hi, my name's Jessie Anderson. I'm with Needle Ink and Thread. I'm a sewing studio instructor, and I got started in my own entrepreneurial journey back in 2012. I started with Mead Paper. I was there for 11 and a half years, and I was severed and didn't know what I was going to do. I had been sewing and decided that I was going to start a small business on Etsy. Use my severance money to kind of float my bills at home, and really wasn't sure what I was going to be doing and if it was going to actually come to fruition. So I ended up doing that for a few months. Sewed purses and home decor, did all my own accounting. Thankfully, from working in corporate, I was able to learn how to do bookkeeping and inventory and COGS and all the fun EBITDA stuff that you guys will learn once you get your own business running. And then I met my business partner, person that became my business partner, Tracy McElfresh. And then we opened up a sewing studio in downtown Dayton. because we both really wanted good fabric and sewing classes and a place for the community to come and join in something we both had a passion for. So we started with very little capital. We actually got a lot of the fabric and stuff donated from the community when we told them what we wanted to do. We applied to Activated Spaces. That's a downtown Dayton partnership initiative to fill the storefronts. I'm not sure if they're still doing that. I've kind of stepped away from that side of the business downtown, but that was actually a really good jumping point for us and our business. So we were accepted. They helped us find a storefront and helped us find a place for below market value rent, which is a really big thing if you're wanting to open up an actual physical location. It's very expensive. And we actually decided to get a lot of our capital, since we both didn't come from wealthy families. We did a Kickstarter, and we were one of the very first Kickstarter programs in 2012 through startup businesses. So we were able to get the community, and actually we had donators from Australia, United Kingdom, all over the country, and we raised about $6,500, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for a little sewing studio that's 350 square feet, it was the perfect amount for us to get our feet wet, not start in debt, and really get the ball rolling with our business. So we took $6,500 and turned it into a very successful small business downtown. We were a fabric store. We did fabric sales, notions. We did alterations. We taught people how to sew in downtown. And then in 2016, we both had a difference of what we wanted to continue the business to be. So we decided to part ways. And I went and opened up my own studio in Beaver Creek called Needle, Ink, and Thread. And she opened up her own studio in Kettering, where she does alterations and custom orders for people. So we were able to kind of take what we learned from opening this first small business, that we had a lot of really good opportunities. So definitely check for your grants, your small business association, ask friends and family for help. Definitely look into crowdfunding. If it's something you're passionate about and things that other people are passionate about, they'll help you out, and they will definitely be in your corner cheering for you. They may not want anything for it. I know Kickstarter, we made products for people and taught people sewing lessons. It was a lot different in 2012 than what Kickstarter is now, but we were able to really take a small chunk of money and turn it into something that we really had no debt in our business, and we continued to just turn our profit into product. So we paid ourselves, but we didn't really pay ourselves with any of the merchandise. So we just found different ways to pay our bills, but also grow the business without feeling like we had to be suffocated by a lot of debt, which I know a lot of businesses can have that happen. So if you're somebody who is like me, I worked for a company that I saw the debt capital ratios and what could happen with people getting severed. I really was pushing for the fact that we didn't have the debt, that we kept our capital fluid, cash flow fluid. And if we had to take a lower paycheck, then we just took a lower paycheck, but made sure the business was stable and safe and sound, which actually helped us a lot with, well, I would say helped me a lot now that I'm Needle, Ink, and Thread during COVID and this whole pandemic shutdown. Because I still run my business that way, where I don't have any debt. I do small little loans through my payment processor, pay those back quickly, so that if I need capital, I can always get it. But I don't ever have a big looming debt, which has helped me keep my doors open through pandemic and continue to keep my doors open through pandemic. And I don't really have any worries about making ends meet. So my big advice to anybody deciding that they really want to open up a business would be to make sure that you can afford your debt, make sure that you don't overwhelm yourself with debt, and be willing to ask people in the same industry for help. And don't look at other businesses in your industry as competition. Look at them as collaboration opportunities, because I really think that collaborating with like businesses has been able to make me grow and can actually help your depending on the type of business you're going into, can really help your business grow and flourish. And everybody kind of wants everybody to get along and to grow together. And just imagine the possibilities that you and another business could come together and create out of a mutual respect instead of animosity. So thank you for listening to my story, and I hope some of my advice was helpful, and good luck.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for your time. My name is John. I'm a founder of Christopher and May Design Company. And I just wanted to tell you my story and just kind of unpack some of those things that you'll face as a entrepreneur, as a business owner, and provide some words of encouragement. So I'll just start with my story. So I actually got into marketing in a really roundabout way. I graduated from college and decided that I wanted to try to find a temporary job in between going back to graduate school, and was lucky enough to find a job at an agency here in downtown Dayton, and started working there, and really fell in love with marketing and how the use of colors and text and copy can really start to elicit various emotions. With my background in psychology, those types of elements in perception and motivation really took me back, and I found some really cool things in the marketing space. So that's really where my passion began, and got an opportunity to spend about a decade in that space across a couple of different marketing agencies. And I would say one night in late 2018, I talked to my wife and I said, "Hey, I've had this thought in the back of my head. I really want to see if I can make a solid run at this and start my own agency." And she took a deep breath and looked at me. She kind of knew what she was getting into. And with her being now a third generation business owner, and she said, "Okay, well, let's give it a shot and see what we can do." And so from there, I took the leap, put in my 2 weeks, and started the agency and went from there. I was blessed enough to know a couple of colleagues who were kind of in a similar boat of trying to figure out what was next, and I approached them and told them my idea and if they'd want to be a part of something special, and they said, "Yeah, let's give it a shot and see what we can do." And luckily enough, we've been in business for this is our second year of business, and things are really picking up. I'd say my idea of what the business would be is completely different from what the business is now, and where we're positioning ourselves in the market and what we're trying to do. So I guess I would say that from that perspective, the thing that's really helped us to continue to grow and pivot during this time, that's a word that's overused, but it's really just been sticking to our values, being open, transparent with not only ourselves but our clients, trying to figure out how we can do things differently, not really being stuck to one particular workflow or creative strategy. And then, honestly, just listening, having those authentic relationships with our clients and our partners, understanding what their needs are, what value looks like to them, and then really trying to make that intentional step into making things work and making things relevant for them. So I would say stay open, stay curious. Those are things that we really live with intention, and don't get deterred by failure. I feel like failure is a part of the game, but you either win or you learn. Those are some things that we try to live by each day. And so things that from the outside looking in may look like a failure, we take it as a learning opportunity and we grow from it. So those are things that we take to heart and things that we apply each day in our day-to-day workflows. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's who we are, and that's what we do. And that's how we've been able to stay successful and stay in business during this time.
All right. Without further ado, let's get started with some questions. So if you haven't already, please submit your questions right in the app. You just go into the session that we're on right now and go into the Q&A section, and you can submit any questions that you have for our 5 featured entrepreneurs. I'll kick us off with some questions for everybody. First off, Mick, let's start with you. What local or global resource or person has helped your business grow the most?
I would have to say it was my initial business partner, Dr. Arash Baboff. We worked alongside each other for about 10 years, and he was aware of what I was developing, working on, and always expressed a keen interest in it. And so that's what prompted me to reach out to him. And he's really been the catalyst that was able to go out through his network and raise the funds to get us started, get us up and running, and to file all of our intellectual property.
I love that. It's really the people that we can rely on the most that make such a difference for our ventures.
Absolutely.
Tay, what about you?
I would have to say Lakeisha Grant with the Entrepreneur Center. She's been working one-on-one with me, helping me with a lot of projects and just being that shoulder to lean on. And I would also have to say Wright Dunbar, Erica Hubler, and Jeff Jackson. Just that support and, do you need anything, or, just the extra assistance from the beginning to the end has been tremendous.
That's awesome. Sherelle?
I would have to say Co-op Dayton has just been amazing throughout this entire process, not just learning co-ops, but understanding Dayton and the different key players who we need to be connected with. Every time we have a question, they always have someone who has an answer, and they're just super responsive. There's an entire thread of panic text messages coming from me or my teammates of something went wrong or we have a question, and they've always been there to help us work through whatever the issue is.
I love that. John, how about you?
Yeah, I would say the community and relationships I've built at Aileron has been immensely valuable to me. I've had a relationship with Aileron for a few years now, and really being able to understand how to kind of position the business to live that professional management now has really been very, very beneficial. And then I would also say Don Eric Black has been, he's a local entrepreneur. He's been a really great mentor to me to really understand family business and how to really kind of position ourselves to be discoverable by those businesses as well.
Awesome. Camo, if you're here, can you share what local or global resource has helped your idea grow the most? We'll head back on to Camo. Maybe he's having some technical difficulties. Okay, next up, my question would be really for John. I'm going to pass it back over to you again. Have there been any experiences throughout your life, in your early life as a kid or adolescence, that help prepare you for the life of an entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I guess I would say growing up, I was never really the type of person who said or knew what I wanted to do. I was always envious of those people around me who said, they wanted to be a doctor, or they wanted to be a lawyer, or, something of that nature, or they wanted to be a creative. They had that set path. I never really had that. So I just kind of, remained open to everything. right? So, if there was something over here that, was interesting to me, I explored it. I kind of did that, all through my childhood and even up, through college. And I think that piece alone has really helped me be a better business owner, because I'm not really, super closed off to anything. If there's, something in a completely different vertical that I see that is working, I'm curious as to why is that working, and so I start to explore that and see if there's things there that I could adopt. So I think that whole, not being kind of set in a certain type of rhythm or methodology has really been helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can totally relate to not having the thing as you're growing up that you're going to be or do, but you find your path along the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tay, what about you? Have there been any experiences in your early life that helped you as an entrepreneur now?
I think I can agree with him. I was definitely one of those people that, didn't know what they wanted to do. I worked a lot of jobs in the past and, try to figure out my way. And it just took me to host that one amazing event and see how I could help entrepreneurs and just see how they benefited from it to figure out my way. But in the past years, I didn't know until then. Like, oh, wow, I like this. And I'm helping people. Let's do this.
Sherelle, what about you?
I would say it was watching my dad. I remember from the age of like 6, my dad was studying to become a CPA, and I would see him leave the house at like 7 o'clock with these giant books and binders, going to the library, and then not come back until midnight, but still like having time for the family on weekends. And so just really that grind of, we're all going to suffer through this for a little while, but it'll be worth it at the end.
I love that. Which takes us to Mick, who's trying to be that example right now for his kids. Mick, tell us about you. What about your experiences in your early life?
Yeah, I've always been kind of had the entrepreneur mindset. Had the paper route as a kid. Also had my own furniture business, building furniture, which kind of led to the engineering side of my brain when it came to developing the syringes. I had my own photography business where, that helped me with customer service and, learning to work with people and meeting their needs. So kind of just all that building into one thing has led me to where I'm at right now with the medical device business.
And Camo, anything to add from your early experiences in life and how it contributed to your life as an entrepreneur?
My older brother is a software engineer and used technology to keep me away from the streets. I grew up in a very disadvantaged neighborhood. Dayton public schools are notoriously underdeveloped and don't really provide much of a challenge to any child who isn't, in a state of trying to catch up. And so my older brother, seeing him spend hours upon hours reading coding books on Perl and JavaScript and C++. And I remember, being a kid, and I would be thinking like it would be summertime, warm outside, everybody out doing their thing, and he'd be up in his room coding hours on end. And, I never understood why, he was so committed to this coding thing. But then, being an entrepreneur now, how much I love the work that I do, I'm kind of a workaholic the same way. So that kind of set the pace for me.
That seems to be a theme here, seeing those people in our life that them work the grind, them be on it, it helped us do that as well. I love hearing that. We've got a few questions coming in from the audience. One is, and this one I'll pass over to Tay. Let's start with you, Tay. As your businesses grow and evolve, how do you think about keeping the same culture and focus? They say that they know a few founders who are currently wrestling with this.
Can you ask me one more time? As your business grows,
how as it's growing and evolving, how do you think about keeping the same culture and focus?
That's a good question. As my business, I'm kind of dealing with that right now. So that's like an amazing question because I'm that's kind of like I'm in between right now. I'm trying to keep the same culture and focus. Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna pass it and then come back and answer that because I want to say it a certain way.
Yeah, totally get that. And it's okay that if we're working on it,
Yeah,
maybe that's something
I'm
like,
in that process right now. So, and I want to say it the right way. So,
yeah, no problem. Mick, how about you? How are you keeping the culture and focus the same as you're growing and evolving?
I think focusing, I've learned throughout this that you just need to, like they say, you can't eat an elephant in one sitting, excuse me. So just focusing on little aspects of each part of the business as you're moving forward, and really focusing just on what's in front of you on that particular day, because you always feel more successful and confident by accomplishing things. And if you kind of focus your goals too far out, then it tends to feel a little overwhelming. So I think that's the one thing that has helped the most is what can I get done today that will help me tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's a wise one for all of us to remember, no matter what we're working on or what phase of our business we're in. John, how about you? How are you maintaining that culture and focus?
I think for us, it's just really just leading with intention in every facet of the business, having a clear understanding of what we're doing and why, and just making sure that, whatever action we take, whether it's, sales or, creative, it's all tying back to that intention and that purpose that we all have, and just honestly keeping that top of mind in each step. And I think to Mick's point, whether you're looking at your 5-year plan or you're trying to get through the week, just making sure that whenever you're in both of those worlds, that you're leading with that intention, and you have your outcomes and things like that clearly defined.
That can be such a powerful exercise. I love intention setting. Yeah. Sherelle, I've got a new question for you from the audience. What was your it that made you take the jump into entrepreneurship, aka the abyss? What made you take the leap?
For me, it was not seeing what I needed, and knowing that the only way it could be created is if my team and I took it upon ourselves to do it, and then really feeling like we had the support system to do it, and seeing some of the momentum of new entrepreneurs popping up and a successful co-op coming out of the works. It was like, now is the time to really capitalize on this and just take the leap.
Sometimes timing really works out, doesn't it? Got to seize that opportunity when it comes. Camo, what about you? How did you know it was time to take the leap and jump into the abyss?
For me, it's always been a passion of mine. I didn't know what entrepreneurship meant as a child, but I had several entrepreneurial ventures once I stepped back and looked at my childhood. And then coming into adulthood, I was always seeing so many people who, had jobs and they, hated their jobs. And it was just like, why do people, do that if they have a dream or they have something that moves them? Why don't they take that leap? Nothing for me scarier than not moving. Like, the idea of moving and failing is scary, but the idea of not moving at all is just a little bit scarier. And so even in that fear, of moving and failing, it's like, but if I don't move, I know it's a guaranteed failure. And so after the last job I worked about 7 or 8 years ago, I was kind of like, I'm done. I had made several attempts to leave jobs to jump into entrepreneurship. And that last time I was like, I'm never going back to just that. Is going to be entrepreneurship as my primary, focus. And it has been the case since that time.
I love that. Fear of the alternative is what made you jump in. So real. John, what about you? What made you take the leap?
I would say I think years before I even had the idea in my head, I went to lunch with one of the owners of the agency that I was at, and I asked him a question because he started a second business, and I said, "What made you take the leap?" And he mentioned to me that he couldn't stop thinking about it. You know, he was losing sleep. You know, it was distracting him from his current business, this idea. And he eventually said, if he saw someone else do that, spin that business up, and he didn't do it, it would kill him. So I always kept that in the back of my mind. And when I had this idea, it kind of started to grow, and it reached a fever pitch to where I was losing sleep. I wasn't focusing on what I needed to focus on because I kept thinking about it. And so it's like, you know, I got to do it for my own sanity. You know, if I fail, then, you know, we'll go from there. But at this point, you know, this is something that I need to do.
Mick, any final thoughts after this? We'll start wrapping it up about how you took the leap.
How I took the leap, it was just seeing the need and feeling the need. As my boys growing up, one of our favorite movies was Robots, animated, and it was always see a need, feel a need type deal. And just when I had that aha moment where I realized that this was going to be a better delivery system for a life-saving medication, that, you know, this needed to be done to help save lives. So a lot of times, sometimes you find the job, the entrepreneurship, and sometimes it finds you. And I kind of feel in my case that it kind of found me, and then it was on to me to bring it forward.
I love that. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here today, for your thoughts, for sharing your stories and your wisdom with everybody that's tuning in live. With that, we'll wrap up, and I'll pass it over to Audra Ingram.
Thanks, Candace. And thank you again to all of our entrepreneurs for hopping on this morning and sharing your stories and your insights. We appreciate you. Thank you, Candace, for moderating today. You're fabulous at it. We always love to have you on our stage, whether in person or virtual. So that'll be it for us today. Reminder to everyone, you can feel free engage with folks in the chat. Add your fellow attendees to your networks, and if you want to continue some of these conversations. Next up, we'll have Kala Gibson, who is the Executive Vice President and Head of Business Banking at Fifth Third Bank, who Fifth Third's one of our title sponsors, so shout out to them as well. Thank you for your support. But yeah, we'll be talking about managing your business through a crisis, COVID or and beyond. So stick around and hop into the next session with us. And thank you all for joining us this morning.
Thank you.